Namaskar. In the last video, I talked about how to open a speech. After you've made a dramatic, powerful opening, you come to the body of the speech, which carries the bulk of your message. So plan it well. What are the things you're likely to include in the body of your speech? The main theses of your topic. Say, for instance, you're talking of live-in relationship, and you have already introduced that in your opening. To continue, you would say, I do agree there are two aspects to the issue. While I am in favor of live-in relationships, I know there are certain pitfalls. Some of you may argue, what happens if the relationship breaks up? Who is going to pay the price? It is not appropriate to our culture. I agree with some of them. But what relationships do not have pitfalls? Are not marriages broken? Even arranged marriages for that matter? Or are best tolerated for cultural reasons? Now, this is where you have actually accepted your opposition's point of view and have given your argument. That's the best. By agreeing with the audience, those of the audience who do not agree with you would probably loosen their stiffness and try to give you an hearing. Then you come to your supporting arguments. Going back to the topic, supposing there is a person who has lost his spouse at an early age, and for various reasons he cannot go into another marriage. Don't you think live-in relationship gives him some succor, some emotional satisfaction? You could quote from studies you have read. This has become a norm in this country, particularly with the younger generation. I was reading an article the other day, an interview with the commissioner of the Hyderabad police. He said 20% youngsters in the Hyderabad area are in a live-in relationship. So this has become a norm today. And there are failures, but there are not that many. You could refer to studies that have been carried out. You could refer to some book or the newspaper article or some statistical information at your disposal, an expert opinion, a psychiatrist or a psychologist might have said something about it. Now these are the things that you would utilize to support your arguments in favor of the topic. But do not make the speech too long. Now, depending on what's the kind of topic, you could organize your subject in one of these plans that I will just briefly cover. One is called the generalization plan, where you talk very, very generally. If the topic is of a general nature, it's not highly technical, you could use a very generalized plan and make a very general speech without going into specifics. You could talk about theory and practice. Is supposing you are talking again about the live-in relationship, and you say, you oppose it. You can say, theoretically it sounds very good. A lot of psychological support might also be forthcoming, and there may a lot of be studied. But what's the practical reality? Is supposing the relationship breaks up after several years and it has resulted in a baby. Now, who takes care of that sibling? Is it not the woman in this relationship more vulnerable than the man? So this is a theory and practice plan where you make a distinction of what is theoretical and what really is the practical reality. You deduce it, the deductive plan. That is, you very logically, I would suggest that if you're using a highly scientific or academic topic, then you state your hypothesis, then you give the evidence, and then you come to the conclusion. That is the deductive plan. You sequentially develop your topic in a manner that convinces the audience. This is practically very useful when you are using an academic subject in a very in an academic audience. The fact and application plan. Well, what are the facts of the case and how is it being applied? First state the facts, and against each fact you say how it is applied. Probably a legal situation, if you're talking about, then you say these are the facts of the case and this is what is being done and this is how it is being applied by the government or by the litigants. The elimination plan. You give an example A and then you say, is this suitable to the situation? No. B, you give another situation and you come to the conclusion, yes, it is partially applicable. C, you give another option and then you say, yes, this is probably the best of the three options given the circumstances, and probably leave the choice to the audience to decide. And a casual plan. If supposing you're speaking in a very informal gathering, a post-dinner remarks in a meeting, or on a speaker who has just completed a speech and you're trying to thank him very graciously, and is a good friend of yours, you talk very casually, use humor, give anecdotes, and there may not be a very rigid format, but then it depends on the occasion. So you see, when you plan your body, see that you keep that in mind, which I said in the previous video, the occasion, the audience, and you. What suits you and the topic in mind. Let not the body be too thin. At the same time, don't make it very flabby. See to it that you're conscious of the time slot allotted to you. Keep practicing it. I think body is something that you should write it down. In the initial stages, I will come to it in more detail later, write it down in full, or at least jot down the points the way I have done, and speak through them, consult them when you are speaking. It's always better, but less you forget some points. Hope you enjoyed my video. If so, share and practice. Have a nice day.